The corrupt doctor has spent months making Jacob Gallagher's working life a misery through a sustained campaign of bullying at the hospital. Recently, however, she has turned her attention toward a different victim. Todd was the person who uncovered Charity's biggest secret, the revelation that baby Leyla, whom she carried as a surrogate for Sarah Sugden and Jacob, was not conceived with Jacob at all. Instead, the child was the result of a brief encounter with Ross Barton. If this truth were ever revealed, it would send shockwaves through Charity's family and could also destroy her marriage to Mackenzie Boyd. Aware of just how determined Charity was to keep the matter hidden, Todd took advantage of the situation. She began blackmailing Charity, repeatedly increasing her demands until the amount reached a staggering £100,000. With Sarah's 21st birthday approaching, Charity grew increasingly desperate to secure the money before the special occasion was ruined. Her best chance seemed to be persuading Kim Tate to purchase her share of the Woolpack. Unfortunately, that plan collapsed when Kim decided to back out of the agreement. Left with few alternatives, Charity turned to a familiar Dingle tactic, breaking the law. Alongside a reluctant Chaz Dingle, she sneaked into Home Farm, stole cash from the safe, and used part of the money to satisfy Todd's demands. Their scheme almost unraveled when Lydia Dingle caught them in the act. However, Lydia chose not to reveal what she had witnessed to Kim. Despite Chaz encouraging her to finally tell Sarah the truth, Charity secretly prepared another risky plan. She stole keys from Noah Dingle with the intention of targeting the depot. She and Chas later discovered that Billy Fletcher had realized items were missing from a shipment and had informed Caleb Milligan. Even so, Charity successfully obtained £30,000 from the robbery and handed the money over to Todd. The payment still fell far short of Todd's demands. She warned Charity that unless the remaining money was produced, the secret would be exposed during Sarah's birthday celebrations. Consumed by guilt and drinking heavily, Charity eventually challenged Todd on the day of the party, daring her to reveal everything. Faced with publicly destroying Sarah's happiness, Todd unexpectedly backed down. She attempted to justify her actions by claiming she enjoyed the chaos surrounding Charity's life and suggested the secret would remain hidden. The truce was short-lived. Before long, Todd's darker side emerged once again, leading to a horrifying incident in which Charity became the victim of a sexual assault. In the episodes ahead, Charity will conceal her traumatic experience from those closest to her by pretending she is suffering from a serious mental health condition. When Manpreet Sharma visits to see how she is coping, Charity feels unable to tell the truth because of Manpreet's friendship with Todd. Instead, she falsely claims that she is struggling with postnatal depression. Manpreet prescribes medication before leaving, while Charity is left carrying the burden of another painful lie. Later, Mac returns, and Charity is upset to discover that he has already shared concerns about her well-being with Sarah. Once alone, she worries viewers when she takes sleeping tablets alongside a glass of wine. The following day, Sarah is overwhelmed by guilt. She becomes convinced that Charity's supposed postnatal depression is linked to acting as her surrogate. When Charity hints that there is much more happening beneath the surface, Sarah desperately wants answers. Although Charity longs to confide in her, she cannot bring herself to reveal the truth, and instead shifts the conversation back to her lack of sleep and supposed depression. Mac later comforts a devastated Sarah, who tearfully blames the surrogacy arrangement for all of Charity's suffering. Future episodes will follow Charity as she struggles to process the assault. Feeling unable to trust those around her, she keeps her trauma hidden and attempts to cope with the emotional damage alone. Producer Sophie Roper explained the significance of the storyline, stating that it will examine the consequences of sexual violence and the unique challenges Charity faces when the perpetrator is another woman. She noted that female-on-female sexual assault is rarely discussed and said the story aims to highlight the profound isolation experienced by many survivors. It will also explore how some victims feel that the legal description of sexual assault fails to reflect the seriousness of what they endured. Roper added that, while the storyline contains difficult and emotional moments, Charity's determination and strength will ultimately provide a message of hope. Emma Atkins, who portrays Charity, also reflected on filming the challenging material. She described it as one of the most important and demanding storylines she has tackled during her time on the show. She explained that although Charity is known for being resilient and strong, the ordeal exposes a vulnerable side of the character that has been emotionally difficult to portray. Atkins expressed hope that the storyline will encourage survivors to speak openly about their experiences and help others better understand the lasting impact of trauma. Kane receives disappointing health news in upcoming Emmerdale scenes after hoping his cancer battle was finally behind him. Earlier this year, Kane was diagnosed with prostate cancer and faced an emotional wait for surgery. His operation was delayed even further after he was involved in a car accident, adding to an already stressful situation. Following the procedure, Kane has been trying to adjust to the physical and emotional impact of his recovery. One of the most difficult challenges has been dealing with bladder control issues, which have left him feeling embarrassed and self-conscious. The fear of having an accident in public damaged Kane's confidence so much that he began avoiding places where toilet facilities were not easily accessible. Thankfully, a heart-to-heart conversation with Liam encouraged him to take a positive step forward. After listening to Liam's advice about not allowing the aftermath of surgery to control his future, Kane purchased leak-proof underwear to help manage his symptoms. The following day, he returned to work at the garage. Although nervous about getting back into his routine, he initially planned to stick to office duties. However, thanks to some clever encouragement from Cammy, Kane soon found himself working on cars again and rediscovering his confidence. Next week, Kane continues making progress when he decides to attend Kyle Winchester's swearing-in ceremony with the Army cadets. As the event begins in the village hall, Kyle proudly takes his cadet oath, but is disappointed when he notices that Kane's seat is empty. What Kyle does not realize is that Kane has rushed to the toilets at the Woolpack after spotting a wet patch on his trousers. While there, he receives unexpected support from Charles, who arrives with a clean pair of trousers. Although deeply embarrassed by the situation, Kane accepts the help and is relieved when both Charles and Bob promise to keep the incident private. Later, Kane returns to the ceremony and honestly explains what happened to Kyle. To his relief, Kyle responds with understanding, reassuring his father that he is not embarrassed and is simply pleased that Kane came back. That evening, Moira tries to lift Kane's spirits after he admits that his ongoing health problems are making him feel as though he is becoming less of a man. The following day, Kane and Moira attend a hospital appointment to receive the results of further tests following his surgery. Unfortunately, the update is not what they had hoped for. Although doctors confirm that the operation itself was successful, new test results suggest there is a strong possibility that the cancer may have spread slightly beyond the original area. The news leaves Kane devastated, particularly as he had been hoping to receive the all clear. Overwhelmed by the latest setback, Kane struggles to process the news. He and Moira agree to keep the diagnosis from their children for the time being, hoping to shield them from further worry. However, keeping such a significant secret proves difficult, and it is not long before the truth begins to emerge. With yet another challenge placed in front of them, Kane and Moira are left facing an uncertain future. The question now is whether they can find the strength to navigate this latest obstacle together. Emmerdale is broadcast on weekdays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream from 7 a.m. on ITVX and YouTube.